It's time for another look at what to expect for the country and for yourself in the month ahead. Well, for once, it's a little bit quieter than it has been these past months. The most important quietness, of course, is that we still see no further signs of unrest or any other kind of insurrection type of activity going on in South Africa's chart, which is great if only we saw the strong leadership and the strong judiciary and everything that would balance against that. Unfortunately, that's not what we're seeing. From the chart for September, the month of Virgo, it looks as if the president is kind of even more invisible than usual. And that's saying something other than, of course, his appearances on TV. In fact, appearances is what it's all about. It's very evident in his chart at the moment that a lot of what he's doing is really about maintaining his own appearance, saving face, maintaining face, both for himself and for his party, the ANC. And that's really what he's most focused around because, as I have frequently said, his position in the party and as head of state is tenuous at the moment and remains so past January of the year ahead. It does look as if the threats that I've regularly spoken about, the threats against him, are kind of a little bit more behind the scenes than usual, but certainly because of what's been going on in the country with the unrest, with the assassination of important people, investigating corruption and so on, he knows that he is probably more in danger than ever. And as we've seen, his moves, his cabinet reshuffling and all of that has really just been to strengthen his own position rather than to do anything that the country might need. Be that all as it may, of course he is in a very dangerous position, and perhaps he believes that by saving himself he's doing something good for the country. But astrology sees through all of those things, and his chart is very much focused around appearance and everything that looks right. It does look as if our foreign friends are not so easily convinced by appearances, and it does look as if there's some difficulties with regards to foreign relations, perhaps foreign trade at the moment, and so on. It seems as if the country is also moving increasingly towards reliance on foreign funds, and that might, as usual, involve the IMF or involve other kinds of trade deals or new trade deals that need to happen. As we frequently see in this chart, surprisingly, financial situation doesn't look nearly as bad as we would expect with all the theft and corruption and devaluations of our economy. Nevertheless, it looks strong, and it looks as if there are somehow some kind of sources of resources for at least the next little while, and perhaps also the dealing with appearances and making things look just right might be the president's way of ensuring he gets funds into the country. The good news is that public health is looking better than ever. That area of the chart is looking strong. It looks like the vaccine program continues to strengthen and spread, despite some of the difficulties that we know about getting people to actually get themselves vaccinated. It still looks as if that continues to spread and probably eventually starts showing some impact. Other good news might be, again, on the sporting front. We've had some good news from the Olympics in recent times. There does seem to be some positive results in that area in the coming month. It is most likely in individual sports or action sports, and most likely to be a male, but there's no way of knowing that for sure. It is someone who is going to bring some kind of a glory for us. What does look like is brewing is a fight in the Department of Education. I don't necessarily mean the government Department of Education, I mean that world altogether. Certainly we know that right now teachers are resisting having the October holidays cancelled. It might be related to that. It might go even further. It even looks like there is some kind of unrest or union kind of issues in the education area of the chart, and that is going to be rather challenging for us. But in other areas, we are looking quite strong with regards to both education and sport. Meaning that despite the onslaught of lockdowns and all of those kinds of things, we are still going to see some good, strong, positive results in our education, in the children themselves. The good news from the chart is that things are not affecting them right now as adversely as can be expected. South Africa's chart right now shows that we are at a position similar to what the old South Africa was in around 90 and 91. There is an important 29-year cycle in astrology, and when it's kind of considered the maturing cycle, and when a country can finally get things right or make a very big change is often on a 29-year cycle. South Africa was 29 years old, the Republic of South Africa was 29 years old in 1990 when apartheid began to get dismantled. You can look at the pattern of Egyptian government over the 20th century. You see that 29-year cycle very quickly, and many other places as well. Well, it's not so far away. 29 years is now 2023 of the current dispensation. It tells us there's a really good chance of things eventually shifting, but where we are right now is in a coming to terms with, and that's what was happening in 1990 in the old South Africa. So it is a bit of a comeuppance. We are going to see, it's about really facing the truth. And hopefully we're going to see more of that at the level of government and so on. This country historically works best from the ground up. Grassroots movements and civil organizations seem to have been largely best at moving us forward. It's difficult with a president who's, mostly got his head in the sand, or he's looking at the mirror rather than looking at what's happening at the country. It means that no matter how great the chart is for facing the truth, we still face the problem that we have a president that doesn't. That is going to inspire grassroots movements and civil organizations to actually start dealing with what's really going on in this country. And from the chart now, literally as we speak, middle of 2021, we're seeing a building process start that takes us to about 2023, and when we can actually start seeing some results. So whether or not the current president is still the president at that time, or whatever the case may be, we're going to have to go through a couple of more ups and downs and roller coasters, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's not as soon as next month. So hang in there. Well, Aries, it does look like over the last month you've had time to think, perhaps time to relax, and certainly a good deal of time spent alone reflecting on what's going on. And now is the time to move forward with the next step. It's time to start making some changes. The two things that show most strongly in your chart is, firstly, in terms of goals and everything you're doing in the world, you now can eliminate all the extras, all the unnecessaries. You can see what your path is more clearly. You can see your strengths, and this is what you now need to start creating some strategy around. It might even be that you're seeing some strengths that you never thought that you had. Looks like people around you over the last month have been great in showing that to you. Now is the time to do something about it. The second thing that is so focused in your chart is your spiritual life, in whatever form that is, whether it's actually spirituality and that regards to your relationship with spirit and with practices like meditation or attending services of some kind or whatever, or it just really involves something like walking with nature and discovering the value of just taking time for your soul. Even for some of you, just doing something you like, but you've also learned to take time for your soul. Taurus, in time for the upcoming spring, it's a great time to start shaking things up in your life. Even if it's just cleaning out the old and doing a bit of dusting in all areas of your life, not just your actual physical space. It's a great opportunity because things are working for you so well. So you'll find that you can manage time more easily at this time, and that you can get some of the fun stuff in as well as some of the work stuff in. Well, I might say that, but your charts look like it's a lot of work going on this month. So if work is busy taking off, don't drop the ball, because it looks like you can achieve an enormous amount in a relatively either small amount of time or not so much effort. In fact, you might be even enjoying yourself in the process. This is a great time to be enjoying yourself. Now, shaking things up isn't always that easy for a Taurus, but you'll find it is easier than usual. Just don't worry about your feelings of uncertainty or insecurity that naturally come when you're not sure about what's going to happen next, because actually it looks like what's going to happen next, pleasant surprises and perhaps some benefits from all that extra hard work that you've been doing at this time. Make sure that you don't neglect your relationships. When Taurus is thriving, Venus, the goddess of love, is thriving, and she does like to ensure that you get some of the good stuff from the people around you. Pay attention to them, all balances out. Gemini, with all the things that you have on your plate and with nothing really focused, but lots and lots of stuff that kind of had to get done with the last while, it might feel like you've checked a lot of the check boxes on that to-do list, but somehow you're not feeling any more satisfied about it. Normally, to-do lists make us all feel very satisfied. Gemini, it's a little bit deeper this month. You know, you've been so busy with all the stuff that you know that you're good at or that you have to do or so on, but you've never really been looking at what do you feel that is good for you at the moment, that you're good at right now. In short, Gemini, this is the time to be looking at how you really value yourself and how others value you at this time. It's a big theme going on in your chart. So you can look at what you do and what you get for it. Do you do things that you really care about? Do you put yourself in situations where in fact you're undermining your own value, like letting people get away with not paying you or paying you too little? And do other people see your value? I mean, are you even getting what you're worth, or are you exploited or overused or just accused of not being so great at something? Might not be as extreme as all of that, but all of it can be solved by coming back to yourself, rediscovering and reasserting your own value, and then starting from the point of view of how valuable you actually are. Cancerians, it might feel like not very much is changing or has changed over the last little while, and you're just going along minding your own business and everything seems fine. And it is kind of like that. It's not as nothing as it sounds. It certainly seems as if you're actually keeping an eye on everything, and where people need you or where you just need to influence people in some way, perhaps make them feel better about something, there you are. So you seem to be in a bit of a behind the scenes phase, Cancerians, which is great, but that is no excuse to let everything else fall by the wayside. This is a great opportunity to be looking at your bigger ideals, and asking yourself what you want for life as a whole at the moment. It's not only about professional goals or anything like that, but you're beginning to see around you your general effectiveness and how people respond to you. So it's time to use that to start reassessing some of your goals and some of what's important to you, some of the bigger picture. It's also important that you don't get too stuck in being the nursemaid or the parent or just taking care of everyone who needs you at the moment. Your house of friendship is very strong right now, and there's some amazing people in your life and coming into your life at the moment. If it was another era, I'd even say you're about to meet royalty. It's not quite as extreme as that, but they're people who can really advance your cause and just make you feel some of that love you've been giving to everyone else. Leos, a lot of your projects have been going very well in recent times, which is great. Your natural creativity and all your missions are working very, very well. But it's also time for you to get back to basics in some kind of way. Your chart is all focused around the root area at the moment. The root is your home, it's where you come from, it's your family. It's just getting back into touch with the source of yourself. That can mean people from the past, places from the past, and things that you've loved. That's so important to reconnect with all of those kind of things. With all your great goals and ideals that have been working very well for you and producing new things in your life, it's easy to lose touch and start feeling as if you're not as satisfied as you should be. And that is why sometimes we've got to look a little bit back in order for that to be true. It's also a great time to be dealing with all of that from a very practical point of view. If you need to fix the home, fix some relationships, deal with stuff that's got to do with the family or the property or anything that gives that sense of roots, now is a great time to be doing that. Even those of you who want to do right away for a DNA family test would be a great time to do it, because for Leos, this is the time to build your roots. And when your roots are strong again, the whole of you can stand strong, tall, and powerful. You know, Virgos, one of your greatest gifts is your mind. Whether it's verbal skills or mathematical skills or whatever the case may be, sometimes you might even underestimate just how great your ideas are or your ability to put them across to people in a useful way. Well, this is the month to find out your power. They are listening. Your influence is strong. It's up to you to use it. So, like the Geminis of this world, there's a little bit of concern about how you're feeling strong about yourself or not, making sure that your own sense of your own value is strong. But unlike your Gemini friends, yours is looking like it's in a really good position at the moment. You need to see it in action. So it's time to see how you influence people or how willing they are to listen to you. That means speak up, stand up for what you want at the moment. It's not about serving others, as it so often is. It's about getting your ideas and getting to the point. You know, the great thing about being skilled with words or having a great mind like you do is that you can cut straight to the chase. And if they don't like it, which usually worries you because you don't like upsetting people, well, this time it just doesn't matter. Even a little bit of standing up for yourself might cause conflict, and anything might cause conflict at this time, and you just got to realize it's fine. I'm the one that's strong at the moment. I'm the one whose words are going to make the difference. Let me speak up. Librans, looks like everything's working very well in your life at the moment, especially in your working life. But it can be a bit of a challenge to get some time for yourself. Get some time to do things that you love. Basically, just getting some balance back into your life. And Libra is all about balance. Nevertheless, you probably can't avoid all that hard work at the moment, so just make sure no one is treating you like a slave. Especially since this is a really good time for some Librans to advance their careers. If there are promotions in the works or possibles, this is the time to put your name out there and make sure that you're noticed, because it does look like you can make a step forward in that regard. Also, with regards to other people, say at work, if it's people in management, then you are being seen, and that's why you need to make sure that it's known that you're available for that promotion or that post, or whatever the case may be. People in general are seeing you. There are old friends around or old connections around who are great for friendship, and that whole social side of it is really good, but also for strategic connections that perhaps can help you in the future. In general, there isn't a major dramatic step happening, but you will look back at the middle of 2021 and realize, the things that I was doing and the people that I was connecting with really stood me in good stead for the years that followed. So this is your investment time, Librans. Make the most of it. Scorpio, it's all about your relationships this month. Firstly, your most important relationships, the significant other or your business partner, or anywhere where there's a close one-to-one interdependence. This is the time where a lot of energy needs to go into that relationship and will easily benefit it. It means having to make yourself clear and stand up for yourself while carefully balancing so that you don't seem to be selfish, or that either one of you in that partnership is gaining more than the other. So it's your house of relationships that is looking for a state of balance, but nevertheless seems to be finding it. In all your relationships, you should also be able to find lots of opportunity for positive shared experiences at the moment. In your romantic relationship, you can deliberately choose that. Make sure that you do fun things together, you do some of the dating type stuff together. This is a really great investment in the relationship at this time. Shared pleasures go a long way. For those not in relationships, it looks like there could be love around the corner, but it's all about those feelings. And for those with kids, you're going to have to sort out some stuff with regards to your children and your children's needs. Going to be very demanding, so don't let it take a toll on your relationships. Remember, that's the priority this time. Sagittarius, you could be making a lot of progress in your professional life at the moment, but you're not really using your energy so well. The chart shows that you're putting out a lot more energy than is required for the job at hand. So it's wasting energy in some way. Or another variation of that is a good old Sagittarian trick of not finishing what you start. So limit the number of things on your plate at this time. It does seem exploding, and it's mostly good stuff. I mean, it looks like you're probably enjoying yourself in the process. But this is not the time to worry about what's enjoyable. This is the time to start seeing results from clear professional efforts, because that's where the gains seem to lie in your chart at this moment. There do seem to be influential people who can help you within your sphere at this time, so don't be shy to draw on that kind of help in some way. But it's important not to put out the image that you're moving too fast, not really paying attention, and acting wastefully, because waste is your big enemy at this time, both in terms of yourself and also in terms of the energy that you're putting out. You could give the impression that you're not being serious or that you're not reliable in some way. Couldn't be further from the truth, because it is a month for achieving things. So concentrate on making sure that one or two of those are done and noticed and on your resume. Then you'll benefit in the future from them too. Capricorn, it also looks like you could be achieving something important at this time. You know, talking about checking off stuff on a to-do list, it is that, but it's a lot bigger than that. There could be a project or a goal that's been going on for a long time that finally starts getting to fruition or even completion at this time. If it's been vague or just in the planning stages, it's time to take things to the next level. In fact, Capricorns, if I could think of a general idea about what suits your September best, it's leveling up in many ways about things that you've done. It shouldn't, though, mean lots of extra doing of stuff. Checking things off, getting them done, putting them behind you so that you can focus on the things that take you to the next level. So it's a great month for completing things, making sure some of the stuff that you've been working on for too long is behind you. Some of the stuff that you don't have to do and other people could be doing is behind you. And now you're beginning to focus on pursuing or completing these kind of other projects that have been lurking in the background that really want to go forward. Within ordinary everyday life, it's still a great time for promotions or other ordinary kinds of leveling up, which are still very, very important. And look for the support from friends around you, especially female friends, who can also help you complete something. It's all about completing something this month. Aquarius, you're often accused by ordinary folks and by astrologers of being all idealism and no action. Well, this is not one of those times. This is where the action actually is making a difference. It's a great opportunity for you to see things that you care about or things that you've been working on actually becoming manifest, occurring in your world. So this is the time to take things to the finish line. Push where it looks like there's no more pushing to be done, and you'll be surprised how quickly things actually can resolve for you. Quick is a bit of a strong word. Planet Saturn, who's very slow, is strongly operational in your chart at this moment, but Saturn loves Aquarius, so it's going to help you put things solidly into place as well. Your personal life might be taking a hit, and there are indications that important close relationships to you might be unintentionally neglected, as in you don't necessarily realize that you are neglecting them. And just make sure you're paying attention to loved ones and other goals like that. It's one of those times where the Aquarian ideals, which relate to the neighborhood, the community, the society, are taking over and filling into place. You're getting those big ideals made. Just don't let your personal relationships think you care about all of those strangers more than you care about me. Make that balance happen. Pisces, we all know how sensitive you are, and that sensitivity is really going to work for you this month. You are tuned in, and tuned in is mostly a good thing because it lets you know what's going on. It gives you the ability to act more strategically and know when to act and all of those kind of things. This is the time to do that because your tuned in sensitivity at the moment is all about identifying opportunities in the people around you. There are people who can help out or might open doors or something like that, and all you need to do is give the signal and they'll be there to help you. Problem is with that giving the signal, On the one hand, you might be just playing it too nice and be too willing to go with the flow, but your charts really show that you seem to be torn, as in simply, should I go that way or that way? There's no bad route. There's no crisis in that way. It might even just look like there are too many good options for you. But whatever it is, there are too many options, or so it seems. Well, since you tuned in, this is the time to be trusting your intuition a little bit further and realizing it's time to go with what your heart wants. It's time to go with what you like the most and let that side of you be your guide. Most important thing though is take advantage of this time. When you're caught between options, you can get hung in the balance and not end up going anywhere or doing anything. That will be your downfall. So tune in, think about it, act on it. That's what it's all about. Looks like we're all warming up nicely for the coming spring. Have a good one, and I'll see you here again next week.